Hello, hello everybody, welcome back. Let's get real with Reality Realness with 3 S's. So my astrological sign is Aquarius, and just so you know, my rising sign is Cancer and my moon sign is Capricorn. And my Myers-Briggs is ENFPA, I believe. Yes. I'm a messy person, but I think it's of it as organized chaos. My favorite food as a child, I really loved making French toast on the weekends. Okay, this is a little bit interesting. So my brother and I used to like making simple things gourmet. So I actually really loved President's Choice's white cheddar macaroni and cheese. And we would put like spinach in it. And at that time I was eating meat, so we'd put like bacon in it and we'd just like make it gourmet. And so it was always a joke within our house that like we'd take these simple foods, so even like these ramen noodles, and would make it gourmet. One of my favorite quotes is from Marianne Williamson's, and it's not necessarily a quote, it's kind of a poem, but it's really, I think it's really beautiful. So it starts with, "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it is in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others." And so there's a lot of people put little clips of that poem, but I think that it has a really, really powerful impact and meaning. Who was my first crush? My first crush was probably, I think it was when 90210 was going on. I'm trying to think of the pictures that I had on my bedroom wall. And so the people that were on my bedroom wall was obviously Dylan, Luke Perry, rest in peace. Jason Priestley was on my wall. And the silly one, and I don't know why, but Jean-Claude Van Damme was also on my wall. So I don't know how he got there, but those 3 people were, I guess, my crushes at the time. I also really liked Khalil Kain. He was in a movie that I can't remember right now, but I thought he was really cute as well back in the day. The chores that I hate doing are all of them. I really prefer having people take care of all those things. I worked for 7 years as a flight attendant, and what I loved about that was I had to keep my clothes neat and organized, but my towel was taken care of. My bed was made for me. I definitely really like other people doing all those extra things. If I could pick just one that I hate the most, it's probably laundry. Laundry is pretty bad. A reality TV show about my life would probably be about my quest to create a TV show. So I was a flight attendant for about 7 years, and I accrued many a story. And I started taking notes and writing down stories that I experienced and all of my peers, and I had friends at other agencies that had a lot of amazing stories and experiences. And so I wanted to bring it all together to create a TV show that I could potentially star in and create something with that being the landscape. So right now that's something that I'm actually, wanting to start. And so I think the process of me going from flight attendant to taking classes to write this pilot script to workshopping it, getting the crew together and getting it made, I think it would be really interesting, especially because I have a lot of friends in the industry, and I think it would be really fun to see how it gets made. My favorite form of exercise will have to be dance. I'm a dancer. I started dancing when I was about 4 years old, and I went to an art school, so Claude Watson School for the Performing Arts. And when I was there, instead of doing gym or physical education, my dance was allowed to be my physical education. So I've never really played floor hockey and volleyball. I did play soccer when I was about 8 years old, or like 6 to 8 years old, and I played a little bit of softball, but I would always rather dance for exercise. The most real reality television show, I would say Big Brother. So with Big Brother, the reason why I started watching it in the beginning was because it was so new, and we got to see these people 24/7 unedited. And I think that allows people to just be themselves. They're literally living in a house and getting along with people and doing different challenges and activity, but they having that stress and that pressure of winning a large amount of money. And so I feel like when we get to watch the live feeds, it is definitely where you get to see people at their realest without it being an edited, finished product. My favorite reality TV show contestants are probably Dr. Will, Boston Rob, and Janelle Pierzina, I believe is her last name. Firstly, it started with Dr. Will. So he was season 2 of Big Brother, and he was such an amazing game player. He won the season. It was the first time that I'd seen strategy in Big Brother. Season 1 of Big Brother, there was no strategy whatsoever, but this one, it had an element of strategy there. And he was so good at the game. He was charming, he was good looking, he was funny and silly. Like, he was just kind of the full package of a player. So I loved Dr. Will. And then season 6 came along, and that's when I met Janelle. Janelle was also gorgeous, but really good at the game. She was the comp beast. She was somebody that I was like, I want to be like Janelle. We're about the same age. And I felt really close to her, and I really wanted to be like Janelle. So she was really inspiring to me as a woman playing this game and doing really well. And then also Boston Rob. So it's around these same years, like early 2000s. And Boston Rob played season 4, I believe, of Survivor. And before that, I didn't really understand strategy in Survivor. I thought that things needed to be fair, and you just had to vote people off fairly, no alliances. And Boston Rob was the first person that really made me understand how to use social strategy to get you further in the game. I really agreed with his way of doing well in the game. So he didn't actually do very well that season, but he definitely really opened my eyes to social strategy in Survivor. So those are my top 3, I would say, right now. My favorite reality TV host, I would have to give it to Arissa. Arissa Cox is from Toronto. She hosts Big Brother Canada. And fun fact is I actually went to school with her. So we both went to Claude Watson School for the Performing Arts and Earl Haig Secondary School Claude Watson program. She's a year older than me. And so I pretty much grew up knowing who she was. We obviously didn't have the same friend group, but there's not that many Black people in the school. So our parents probably have an idea who each other are as well, because they probably sat near each other in some of the performances and such. So I would say Arissa, she is really invested in the game. She loves all the contestants. Now she's not just the host, she's an executive producer. And so since she's taken on that role as executive producer, I would say that the series has been even better. So I think for her passion, it's not just a paycheck, she's not just hosting, she watches the live feed. She's one of us, but she's also hosting the show. So I'm gonna have to give it to my girl, Arissa Cox. Okay, the celebrity that I get mistaken for the most, and I still don't see it, but it's always been Whoopi Goldberg. Since I was probably 9 years old, people would always say that I look identical to her. I don't particularly see it. I'm hoping it's because I'm really funny. But yeah, Whoopi Goldberg. And when I was in high school, I used to get Brandy a little bit. People really thought I looked like Brandy at one point. I'm not sure what song was out at that time, but in high school I did get Brandy a bit. But I would say the most consistent person that I am told that I look a lot alike is Whoopi Goldberg. My biggest fear is being buried alive. My grandmother, when she was about 8 years old, she was from an island called Montserrat. It's near Antigua. And this would be probably the early 1920s sometime. And she got some sort of ailment that caused them to weren't able to tell that she was still alive. And so they pronounced her dead. She was dead for, would say, 2 or 3 days. And had her laying on this kind of wooden slat, and they had her feet bound and her arms were bound, and they were going to put her into the ground, but they had invited her schoolmates and friends to come and say goodbye to their friend that they were about to put to bury. And one of them saw her toe wiggle and got freaked out and goes and runs to the doctor, and she came out of whatever state that she was in. And from that point forward, she was a medium. She was able to see life, like people that had passed on. She was also narcoleptic, so she was kind of always teetering between different dimensions, brainwave states, et cetera, But I just always imagine, what if her toe didn't wiggle? And it wiggled when she was in that box and she came out of that state that she was in inside a coffin in the ground. I would not want that to happen at all. When I was small, I always wanted to be a lot of things. So it's no surprise that in my adulthood, I do a lot of things, but I wanted to be a lawyer because I always wanted to get justice and wanted to fight for a cause. I also wanted to be in fashion, so I used to design like little fashion cutout dolls, little outfits and such. And I always wanted to be in the arts, so I was always dancing, I was always doing little plays, and I also really loved puzzles. I never could figure out how I could make puzzles work, but maybe that's the reality TV in me now, is that I love playing games, I love puzzles, I just haven't figured out how, for me, I can make that into what I want to be when I grow up. So, I guess that's it. Did I answer that? At karaoke night, my go-to song is, this is gonna age me, but ready or not, here I come, you can't hide. I'm gonna find you and take it slowly. So Ready or Not by the Fugees is what I tend to sing if they have it. So I've had many nicknames in my lifetime. When I was in elementary school, so like after like grade 4, I was called Chantle. So my name is spelled C-H-A-N-T-E-L-E, and so they were being fun and they would say Chantle. So Chantle is one, Shanti, Shan Shan, Shan Shan, Shantizi, Shantizzle, Chantanelle, and I think that's all of them. Yeah, Shan Fran and Shan Fran Fran. So if I had to choose where I wanted to vacation between Alaska and Hawaii, I would 1,000,000% choose Hawaii. Firstly, I'm sure it's beautiful. I love the idea of being by the ocean, and they have a lot of spiritual rituals that I would be very interested in learning about the culture and the land. And fun fact, I did take hula lessons when I was in Vancouver, so I do know how to hula a little bit. And so that would be fun to be able to maybe experience that on the land. And Alaska, yes, it might be interesting and beautiful in its own way. I live in Canada. I got enough cold. I would like to experience a little more tropical weather. My favorite holiday is Halloween. I love Halloween. Halloween's my favorite. All my birthday parties, I've always had to be dressed up. They were always themed. So Halloween was an opportunity for me to dress up and just do something wild, do something funny, crazy. I always love a good dress up, and Halloween is always an excuse to dress up. So I've taken that spirit of Halloween with all my birthdays, and if I ever get married, it's definitely gonna be a themed wedding. It will definitely be a themed bachelorette party. I love dressing up, and Halloween lets you do it for sure, at least once a year. The best gift that I've ever been given was a very practical gift. So my air conditioning was broken, and I live on the top floor of a house. And Toronto summer gets hot. And so it was probably about 40 degrees in my apartment, and I was just laying down, just dripping sweat, and I was just so hot. And I was talking to my best friend, we were texting each other, and she's like, "What, your air conditioning is broken?" And she happened to be at some sort of home hardware, Canadian Tire type store, and she's like, "I'm buying you a fan right now." And so she bought me a fan, she put it in an Uber, and a fan arrived at my house. And so I was able to cool down a little bit. And so it was a very practical gift, and it was sent by my best friend when I really needed to cool down. I love roller coasters. I'm a person that loves roller coasters. I don't even know how you could hate them. It could be because I started going on rides since I was about 2 years old. I've always had a season's pass to Canada's Wonderland, which is our amusement park. And so I started going on the Ghoster coaster as soon as I was reaching the height level. And since then, I would have a season pass. Every summer, I would go to Wonderland every single day. My friend and I would get our parents to drop us off at Yorkdale Mall, and we would take the Go bus to Canada's Wonderland and then come back, and our parents would pick us up at the end of the day. So I would spend a lot of my formative years at Canada's Wonderland going on all the rides over and over again. So I'm a ride person. I love roller coasters, and I might judge you if you don't. So you'd be surprised, but in school, my favorite subject was math. And so if we're just talking about academics here, I was a math champion when I was in middle school, or I guess, yeah, elementary school. I really enjoyed solving equations. My favorite TV show at that time was MathNet, where they taught me how to do palindromes, and the game that I would play at school would be Number Munchers. So yeah, I'm a math girl. I love math. If I couldn't do things that were artistic, I was definitely gravitating towards math. I speak English very well, but other language-wise, je parle français juste un peu et hablo un poquito español.